Flip side tactics, finding a way to get a miraculous win there before the break came through. And I would like to welcome you guys here back to the DreamHack Pro Circuit live from Leipzig, Germany. And it is a crazy series that we just got concluded with. And the fact that they were able to get it to the OT in game number 3 and then somehow bring it back against PSG.
It was wild. That game 5
Yes.
at the end, I thought it was going to overtime. It seemed like PSG had like 2 misses that honestly I thought they would score. They were quality shot attempts, and they just didn't hit them. And that's the difference at times from a great team and a good team. And we talked about PSG being that gatekeeper of, here are the great teams above you, and then everyone's below you, but they just can never find their way up.
Never find the way up, unfortunately. So they'll have to wait and try again some other time. But PSG, you know, you at least showed me that you are capable of being a strong team. It's just execution every time.
Yeah, it's really difficult there coming out from them. But, you know, I feel like the fact that we just ended up seeing, you know, PSG and the performance that they had is going to be beneficial when looking towards this next series, just based on the fact that we also get compLexity, who just came off of a loss versus them. And so what are you guys expecting, knowing that it is going to be compLexity here in Cloud9?
So I'm going to give this to Achieves because that was the series that you were very angry about on both sides of the field.
So compLexity, like, I did not understand. I was like, yo, because we asked Fair, we're like, do you feel like you got what you expected out of compLexity? They're like, no. And I agree, because no, that's not the compLexity that won every team through the qualifiers and qualified through the upper bracket. compLexity got there challenging everything, and it had to be the nerves. Like, it was Flake's first series ever on stream.
Like
they used so much boost doing nothing, and I'm just like, hello?
Like, it seemed like it could have been that, but it was also all 3 players would just miss randomly, which we don't see a lot anymore, and there was a lot of whiffs, and if you whiff against Cloud9 and then give them an offensive advantage, that's not going to bode well.
Yeah, I don't think the ball is going to exist in the arena much longer, because it's going to blow up in one of the goals and start back in the center a few seconds later. It's an awkward moment there, but yeah, no, I think it is something that we have to be worried for when looking at Cloud9, because we always talk about midfield pressure. How much room do they get? And then compLexity over their last series, it just didn't feel like they necessarily, you know, contested the same way that we expected from regionals.
Yeah, definitely, because compLexity is another team similar to Savage. It's like, yo, when they're on, they'll be in your face, they'll challenge everything too. So is compLexity a team capable of beating Cloud9? Not if they play like they did earlier, but again, I always feel Cloud9's game is the challenge game. They will just beat you because they're quick.
And one advantage, compLexity, they did get a win off stream to get back to this point, so that's always good for compLexity. But from Cloud9's point of view, we just saw 0 offense. They scored 1 goal, and that was because Alpha just dribbled right in front of his net. So Cloud9 did not look like the usual Cloud9 that we love to see, but when they faced adversity, we saw it at Season 6 World Championship, where they won 7 in a row throughout the lower bracket. They know how to win when they need to.
Well, let's go ahead and look closer here towards our world champions as they have made their way to this stage and figure out what they have in store for us here. Do we feel like, based on that offensive pressure and the lack of offense, more so there, Gibbs, who was it that maybe wasn't providing the threat necessary to get that offense going?
So I think it's a whole team aspect there, where they have to figure out how to control those mid boosts, because they were just getting beat time and time again by Savage, where once you lose both those mid boosts, you have to rely on your back corners, which means only 2 people can get boost. And normally when someone has the ball on your side of the field, you can't go to that corner. So then you lose one of those, and maybe one of your teammates has 100 boost while everyone else is sitting at 12. So it's hard to clear the ball, and then it's just that circle where you just can't get the ball out because you have no boost for a clear. So Cloud9 has to figure out a way to get that mid boost control back.
That is the amazing thing, because, you know, there's, you know, just over 900 boost on the field somewhere, 600 of it in the sides. And if you control, obviously, your own half, so 2 in the midfield, whenever you get on offense, 2 in the midfield just became the most important ones, just because those are the boosts that let you stay on offense, or if they're not up when you're trying to stay on offense and you have to rotate all the way back, you just concede space. And so the timing and the rotation around those midfield boosts and controlling that midfield, that is the power of the transitional side.
And the team here that's looking for some of that control and the power here is on the other side, compLexity. Magnus was the guy that you were talking up quite a bit here. Gibbs, do you think he's going to be the reason, maybe, if they get a victory here over Cloud9?
It's very possible, but I was not impressed earlier when we saw him. But it was also, like, I felt like they left Flakes on defense a little bit too often, where he, man, like, he really needs to stop spiking that water. I'm not really sure what's going on there. But Flakes, he was on defense way too often where the ball would come off the wall. He has to go for an awkward aerial, and he just wasn't able to get it, and they gave PSG, a team that hasn't had a lot of offense, a lot of easy goals.
Yeah, I just want to see compLexity just settle down. I really do feel like the nerves got to him in that first game on the stage, and this is the huge redemption arc for compLexity. You know, you tanked all the way through Rival Series. You come out here, you blow people out of the water to qualify, and then your first game on stage is right back into the gutter. So, yeah. compLexity, this is your even everything out. Show people what got you here.
So before we get formally to the predictions here, I just want to gauge, let's say those emotions got removed. Can they do that here? Are they a good enough team if the emotions and the stage isn't too much pressure?
I mean, Savage already did it once. Yeah, compLexity can do it.
All right, I like to hear it here. Well, you know, we don't know whether or not those emotions are in fact going to be removed, but got to still hear the predictions. Cloud9 or compLexity here?
I have to go Cloud9. They've been top 4 in every single tournament. They could very easily do it again here. You can't bet against Cloud9, I don't think, to make it day 3, so I have to give it to them.
Yes, same. Cloud9. Yes, they didn't get the engine revved up earlier, but that's what we all kind of thought. We were like, yo, they're either going to beat you, or maybe that's the game where they aren't clicking. And if Cloud9's not going to make top 4, this will be the first time I've ever seen it.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, we said last time, it's hard to go against Cloud9, and last time I said that, they ended up losing. So something inside me makes me go like, maybe I'm the problem here. But I'm going to stick with Cloud9. I believe that they have the tools and what it takes here to get a victory over compLexity. And in a couple moments here, we'll go ahead and, actually take a minute to appreciate your guys' love for the Cloud9.
That's
My
fair.
goodness,
That's
look
fair.
at that gap.
And it's still early in North America, so that's a lot of European fans also like, hey, it's Cloud9. We know that they're the best from NA probably, so yeah, sure. They'll make it to day 3.
That's the beauty of being a world champion, is you've dominated not only North America, but you've claimed yourself at least a fraction, a smidge there of Europe here, as we're going to bring in our commentary team, excuse me. I mean, they are kind of the cream of the crop, if you will. Coming out there, Johnny Boy and Shogun. Guys, what are your thoughts here between these teams?
I think it's somewhat fair to be considering it that lopsided coming into this one. Cloud9 have got incredible pedigree at these international events, but individual players on compLexity have also gone and done incredibly well.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a closer one than I think I would have predicted at the start of the day, with compLexity going close with PSG and just how bad of a loss Cloud9 have just suffered. Game 1's going to be very, very telling.
Well, I'm excited to see if compLexity can rid of maybe some of those nerves here. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dreadnought. And yep, the player that we're going to be looking towards again is Flakes in this series, especially towards the end of the last series. It looks like he started off well, but the rotation just sort of left him behind. I can't tell if they were playing without him or if he just couldn't quite keep up with the pace that was being set down by Greasy and Magnus, but it's going to be absolutely crucial for them to try and find that out this game.
Yeah, Series 1 jitter is no longer a valid excuse for Flakes. He's got those out of the way. And we did get a chance to talk to the compLexity guys. They said that that did play a pretty big part in their series against PSG. They looked like they were not able to play to their full potential. And they do put that down to just the fact that they were on stage for the first time. And Flakes in particular wasn't feeling like he could do everything that he wanted to do. But this versus Cloud9 is their chance to show us why they're here. They qualified as the first seed from Europe. Cloud9, of course, were invited. Everybody knows why they're here. Why are compLexity here? Well, maybe we're about to find out.
Absolutely, and they're starting to feel like maybe the European scene is starting to pass them by. We saw earlier on Savage dismantling Cloud9 on the stage. And compLexity going to be looking to that and saying, can we do that as well? Well, we're about to find out. We're heading over to DFH Stadium for game number 1. We're going to have Cloud9 against compLexity.
Straight away, big kickoff for Cloud9. And they will get a really good chance from it. Magnus is just in time back into defense to block that one. He's covered most of Gimmick's angles there as well.
So we saw earlier on Savage able to take down Cloud9 by just being a consistent threat and a consistent hassle to Cloud9's defense. compLexity aren't usually that sort of style though. What can we expect from them if they expect any chance of taking down the world champions?
You know, they can try an impression of Savage if they want to, and I think it's the best way to go about beating Cloud9 right now. They want to play ultra aggressive. Don't want to give Cloud9 any time on the ball. Shove them into their own half. You know, we got a chance to talk to the Savage boys after their win against Cloud9, and they said that they felt like Cloud9 were playing a little bit slow and they were letting Savage do whatever they wanted, perhaps expecting more misplays out of Savage. That just brought more and more confidence towards Savage as the series went on. So Cloud9 are a bit of a dangerous spot. If they allow compLexity the same space, maybe the confidence will grow for them as well.
Going to be a decent opportunity across the face of the goal and almost in. Magnus makes sure of it. I think the post guard would have at least managed to bounce it out, but you don't want to take that risk.
Lovely air roll shot by Tarman indeed. First real opportunity falling to Cloud9 there.
They were stuck to only one goal earlier on against Savage. That was a challenge win by Torment.
Yeah, surely that won't be too hard to beat right now.
Just be looking for anything that they can do at this moment in time. Greasy clears long. That's going to be able to be taken over by Torment, but it's not a great touch. And Magnus is going to probably leave this one. 2 minutes down. We're still waiting for one big opportunity, but there's a mistake, and Gimmick will be happy to see that one swept away by Squishy.
We're just going to back up into defense again to try again, perhaps. It looked a little bit shaky in the match versus Savage, but then didn't all of Cloud9 was getting outpaced for the most part. A lot of back passes coming in for compLexity. I like it. They're keeping the possession. Squishy forced into an awkward position, but he does well. Keeps the ball safe and away from the compLexity players who are looking for their first goal.
Flakes. Back down again, Gimmick trying to find some way out, but right now Cloud9 being bumped. Can't quite find their way to move around. This is the same issue they had earlier on. There's no option to go to, but right now compLexity look like they're struggling. And that rotation needs to get back sorted.
Did Magnus bump Torment there? I don't know if that was a bump or just Torment trying to avoid Torment and taking, or trying to avoid Magnus rather, taking a bit of a too wide line. Like trying to sneak in a shot. Gimmick this time will not be tricked to the near post. We saw Alpha managed to fool him earlier with a very tight angle shot from that same position. Gimmick will not be fooled twice.
Gimmick to the wall once again. A lot of booming balls being used so far this game. Neither team really happy to take control of it themselves. We do go off the backboard. Drop down again. Magnus didn't quite expect it. He will not be able to get there in time. And now it's 2v1. If they can keep this going, this transition could be very dangerous. Greasy doesn't get contact. Chris Gimmick will get it in. 1-0.
And it was a miss by Greasy that lets Cloud9 into the play. Nice knock on though by Squishy. He's caught an awkward part of the back wall. Gimmick started this off with a good clear himself, so the two Cloud9 players connecting well there. For a moment, it looked a bit worrying though for Cloud9. Squishy got caught out by a hard clear. He was way out of position. Luckily, Gimmick was there to clean up the mess.
Trying to keep it loose at the moment. Right now, compLexity just don't have each other spread out enough to really have any options to pass to. Very direct with their style of play down to the other side of the field, and for Cloud9 with a goal lead, they're going to be sitting on the back foot just a little bit more. It's going to be easier for them to react.
Well, one thing's for sure, they're not playing anywhere near as quickly or as aggressively as Savage played against Cloud9 earlier today. So it's not working out at all. Torment just denied by the crossbar. No one from compLexity able to save that one. Greasy misses the ceiling clear. compLexity need a goal. They need it right now.
Over to the wall, Gimmick. He's going to take his time. He's almost wants to win with the challenge as well. Tried to set Flakes up. And there's another miss from Greasy. He's struggling a little bit up on these walls. Back down. Couldn't quite get the pinch. 30 seconds left. compLexity have got to find some way to put something together, but I just don't know where it's going to come from.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's looking awkward for compLexity. Missing clears. It's driving around slowly. Doesn't look like anyone's got 100 boost when they most need it, and that might be on target. It's close off the post, actually. Torment's there for the rebound, saved by the crossbar again. 10 seconds for compLexity.
Up onto the wall. Another challenge win there for Squishy. Going to be turned in. No! Magnus is there just on time. Torment looking to keep that pressure on. They find a second, they'll be more than happy, but 0-second heroics could always be featured. Not this time, though. Cloud9 have got great game number 1.
Yeah, there was just desperation there at the end for compLexity. Really stretched thin by Cloud9. Just 1-0 though. It's far from a confident game by either team. Cloud9 for moments during that game were looking a little bit uncomfortable in defense, but compLexity were not able to punish them, and that's the difference here. Is the second that compLexity made a mistake, Cloud9 were all over it.
Absolutely. It seems like Cloud9 are just struggling to get the ball to the own side of the field, and it's not like Cloud9 are really doing that much to put pressure on them at this point. It's just compLexity not having players in position to pass to, not really having the boost or the options required to really set Cloud9 up. And now they find themselves a goal down. We've got to try and find some answers from these guys. And if you were behind them right now, Johnny, what would you want to say to them? What's the one thing you'd want them to change?
Well, I do remember something Greasy told me earlier that I think I've already alluded to this earlier on stream, but when they were losing to Vitality in day 1, it's an off-stream match, Greasy said to Flakes, just do what you want. Just go and play the way you want to play. This is a new environment for you. To feel as comfortable as possible, just go and do whatever you want. I'll try and fill the gaps. I'll try and play around you. And I think that's what they need to do right now, because Greasy's trying to dictate the game himself, and it's not really working. I think it might be time to throw the reins to Flakes and see what the young gun can do.
Might certainly help with some of the nerves as well. Flakes. He's the player that we've got a lot of eyes on here. It's going to be Magnus and Greasy trying to link up. Can Magnus get this one back? No, Torment there just in time. Remember, this is a lower bracket round. Whoever loses this is out of the tournament, and whoever wins moves on to tomorrow's playoffs. So much on the line.
You know, later on today, we're going to see NRG and G2 play, and another host of amazing teams. Hang on a second, this might be a goal for Cloud9. No, cleared by Greasy. Now it's a chance for Greasy. The other end, he's got no boost though. Looks like Cloud9 might escape here for the time being. But, you know, thinking about tomorrow, if Cloud9 do qualify from this game, they're going into tomorrow as a second seed, and that would put them against the first seed from the lower bracket. That could be one of their main rivals over there in North America. Shot by Squishy. Nobody back for compLexity. Cloud9 with the lead inside the first minute.
And it's more of the same from compLexity. Greasy couldn't follow it up. I don't think he quite looked where Squishy was coming from. And once again, compLexity caught, and they are scored upon for it.
It's a good read by Squishy, though. Managed to predict exactly where Greasy was going to hit the ball.
It is a good read, but you've got to keep an eye on that player on the wall. It's not hard to shift position once you're up there. And Greasy needs to be that tiny bit more careful.
You know, offensively, Cloud9 are actually looking reasonably good. It's just that they didn't play any offense earlier in the day against Savage. They were just stuck in their own half for the full 15 minutes almost. And their opportunity for Torment, he's just shanked it wide though. You know, now that they're getting to play some offense, they look okay. Here's Magnus. Oh my goodness, he's put it wide. And that was by far and away the best opportunity we've seen all day. Another shot goes amiss for compLexity. It's all going wrong here, Shogun.
6.5 minutes without a goal at this point, and they won't get many easier than that in this series. That was a gimme that compLexity managed to miss. Magnus, you know, you could replay that another 100 times. He'd score at 99. That was the one he missed.
Yeah, maybe even more than 99, you would think, especially with how fast the pass was. He just had to drive into
at 99,
the ball.
He'd get bored, and then he'd miss it.
And he missed it for fun. Really, that's such a strange miss from Magnus. Flakes with the mind game. Takes one out of the game. He's flicked past the ball accidentally and taken another player out of the play. So Flakes with a bit of fortune there, but it's worked in his favor. Of course, it looked like he missed the flick. That's where the Cloud9 challenge came in, but then he's landed in front of the ball and popped it perfectly over the tackle that was coming in. And Cloud9 at the other end, shut down by Magnus.
Torment. Straight back up to Squish. You couldn't quite launch that a little bit further. Half the game gone. compLexity is still looking for their first goal this series. As Flakes once again controlling the ball. He's getting a good job of taking out at least one player every single time. But there's just no real follow-up, and it ends up meaning that whoever's behind the Cloud9 challenger can just launch it long once again.
Yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate that time, taking a knock after getting the ball past the player that was right in front of him. But we had to try again. They got 2 minutes in the second game. They're being completely shut out here, but at least it's only a 1-goal game. You need to try and find something. Even another open net from Magnus. He can redeem himself from earlier in the game as Flakes, but beaten to the ball by Gimmick. 1 minute 45 on the clock. Still Cloud9 leading by 1. Oh, that might be it though. Chance for Greasy. And it will be the equalizer. Finally, compLexity get one on the board.
Yeah, that's well put down again by Greasy. Just straight in. That first shot probably should have been a goal, but Greasy will make sure of it the second time around. And now they've finally got themselves on the board, and it was just a little bit of unpredictability with the rotation. For the first time this entire series, they've been almost too regular with what they're trying to do. You can predict exactly what they're trying. Greasy needs to re-add that level of unpredictability to his gameplay that he's had for so very long.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier. They're very direct and tend to just hit the ball as hard as they can. It's the case a lot of the time in 3v3, double commit in defense, but should be plenty of time for the players to get back into position. Flakes is slowing the ball down a lot, and I must say it's working wonderfully. That's not the first time he's taken multiple players out of the game. It's just missed by Greasy. What a setup though by Flakes. That's exactly what Cloud9, compLexity need to do. The mix-up you were talking about.
Breezy, back long, there's gonna be no one down there. Flakes is starting to look like a difference maker in this series, and alluding to your point earlier on, I think that call has come in at this point. Flakes, do what you want to do, and he seems to be doing it pretty well.
Yeah, it's creating a lot of chances. Cloud9 not sure how to deal with his ground play. Still though, tied up. A goal for Cloud9 would absolutely shatter compLexity's morale.
Well, I've seen Breezy shaking his head on occasion, just even when he's getting demoed. You get the feeling that if Cloud9 take this, that could mentally shatter compLexity. Greasy is beat to this one. There's nobody back. Gimmick's going to try and square this up. Until that goal!
That pass by Gimmick. He's recovered so well here. And just casually takes Greasy out of the game. Pinch center ball was so well controlled as well. He hits out too fast. It's going to go across the net before Torment can get there. Too slow. It's not going anywhere at all, but he's got it just right. 18 seconds of the clock. compLexity need a goal all over again.
Over the top. Flakes has got it, but Greasy's quite far forward, flicks it up, and it's into the top corner! Greasy Meister's got his second, and he's got his team back in it.
What a flick by Greasy. Gimmick was so close, but he's arrowed the wrong way and gone past the ball. compLexity equalize. What a game two. You know, like you said earlier, it's so important for compLexity's morale, especially Greasy. Well, I'll tell you what, you might have a chance here to make it 3. Cloud9 in their own half. A few seconds left on the clock, squishy off the ceiling. Should be OT, indeed it is. Overtime, game 2.
Cloud9 get it, they go on series point. compLexity do it, they will tie us up. This is such a massive goal. Going to be going back out, Torment. Just tries to keep a little bit of time. So that way his team can get themselves back into position so they can hold the offensive line that they currently have. And it's actually a little bit of miscommunication with compLexity. They look like they got away with it.
What is happening for compLexity? Cloud9 a little bit more organized than OT, and Gimmick was just a hair away from taking that. Still, all Cloud9 in overtime.
Oh, that is a huge block there from Magnus. Flakes tried to set himself up, but the bounce, well, simply just did not favor him.
Yeah, it's not what he was looking for. He expected it to come down low. It's gone miles over his head, though. Still, anyone's game, though. compLexity finally able to get the ball out of their half for an extended period of time.
Oh, wow.
That might be on net.
Absolutely everyone committed, and it's not the right decision. Gimmick will take game 2 for Cloud9, and compLexity threw everything on a Hail Mary play.
Gimmick just putting Cloud9 in his back at the end of this one. You know, all he had to do there was put the ball on net. There was nobody close for compLexity. Like you said, they were all moving forward together. They thought that was their moment to attack, maybe get a game back, try and tie up the series, but Flakes was not able to get in the way of the ball. Gimmick, even if Flakes did hit it, I think Gimmick would have had at worst a 50-50. Aerial speed, looking a lot more confident.
It's the risk you take with those infield passes, is that ball is very loose, and whilst you are aiming for your teammate, it is available for everybody to get a hold of. And if Gimmick reads that as quickly as he does, he can not only get there before the attacker, he can get there clean. And that's exactly what he did. There was nobody left to stop him. What a game this was.
This pass is really well done by Gimmick. To control this, it's not as easy as it looks. He's just put that right in the sweet spot for Torment. And there is your MVP for game 2. But it all started with Squishy's hard read on Greasy. And you know, Greasy's not been able to assert his dominance in this game, in this series, like he wanted to. You can see he's frustrated that things aren't working for him and his team.
Now compLexity, got to find a way to reverse sweep the world champions. They want to move on to day 3. And not only make it to day 3, but make it into the money. This is effectively a $2.5 grand series that these two teams are playing. And every series you win after that just keeps ramping it up more and more.
And this is where Cloud9 are going to be so hard to beat. If you could put them a couple games down like Savage did, then yeah, they're not going to be too comfortable. Now, Cloud9 are just going to feel so good about themselves. Both games that they won were by 1 goal. Hang on, that's Squishy. Had to think about that one, but he's done well. Now Gimmick, freestyling, that's a bad sign for compLexity. So Gimmick's freestyling. Must mean he's feeling pretty good about their chances.
Gimmick has 2 buttons on at all times. One is boost, the other is air roll.
You're not wrong.
He will figure out what order they need to be used in later on. Torment off the backboard. There is a demo from Gimmick. And Squishy just dived in, hoping to see maybe his opportunity. But now we're down to the other end of the field. complexity trying to set up their opportunity. Instead is blocked. Now we've just got a whole bundle of cars stuck in the corner as everyone tries to spread themselves back out.
Flipper set for Greasy, but he's just going nowhere with it. Chance for Cloud9 to counter. The pass is exactly what Torment wants, but he's hit the bar. It's all right, though. Gimmick's on this team, and he's going to score it for you.
Gimmick does not miss those sort of shots. And once again, complexity just find themselves stuck on the counter-attack. They don't quite know how they want to react. Cloud9, 1 foot in the next round.
Yeah, Gimmick just makes the goal look bigger there, because if you hit the crossbar, he's going to score the rebound. If you put it in just under the bar, well, that's fine as well. You probably scored yourself. So nice having confident rebounders on your team. Squishy with a nice save here. He had to make that save after missing the ball on the back wall, but he's done well.
complexity. It's going to be very interesting to see now how they respond. If they were speedy and direct before, I can only really imagine that their response is to try and be even more speedy and even more direct, and I don't know if that's really the right decision. Here's Flame, or Flakes, trying to go all the way over to Greasy, but it's just out of his reach.
Cloud9 are looking imperious right now. Everything that complexity does doesn't seem to be working. Cloud9 are making some good reads in defense. There's no uncertainty like there was earlier on in the series, and absolutely like there was earlier on in the day against Savage.
Knight said that there's one team that you don't want to lose a lead against, and that is Cloud9. They are almost impossible to pull it back against. And complexity have got to do exactly that if they want to stay in DreamHack.
Got half a game to do it. 1 goal to find. They've lost both the previous games by 1 goal. Well played by Magnus, just getting in the way of Squishy there. Gimmick has put the ball into the crossbar himself, and it will be another goal for Gimmick in the following few seconds. There's just no one at home for complexity. For a pretty straightforward, you would expect, clear ball. But well done for Gimmick for threading the needle there between the 2 defenders.
Just seems like the defensive timing and positioning for complexity is just all off at the moment. No one's getting back at the right time. Gimmick now with the ball on his hood, sets it up. Squishy and Torment both up. We're not going to give you the same benefit of the doubt that we gave Evil Geniuses yesterday. That was a double commit.
They need to be taking some lessons from EG. Oh, look at this from complexity on the counter. I mean, that's how you punish a double commit in offense. Use all 3 players. Blake's running ahead here for interference, but Magnus and Greasy put together a whole host of passes there. And they've made it a 1-goal game. Cloud9 might need to calm down a little bit. They're getting a bit too excited there, thinking the series is already won. There's still 2 minutes left to play. Now, it's just a 1-goal game.
Squishy's now out of the game as well. Gimmick and Torment will be the players moving forward. That's actually well led up. Torment just keeping the pressure on. They're trying to set up one more time. I don't think Cloud9 are going to give them a 3v1 yet again. But complexity can hope. Greasy goes long, nobody over there. We need to see these double commits turned all the way down to 0 for complexity, because every time they do it, it means that Cloud9 get the next ball play for free. You can't do anything else after that.
It's so hard to get the ball back off Cloud9 when you just give it to them for free like that. You know, sometimes they're hitting the ball straight to Cloud9, sometimes, like you say, the double commits are occurring, and then Cloud9 just come in and take the ball themselves. It's over a minute now. Complexity are pretty hard stuck in their own half. They would love another free goal from Cloud9 overcommitting, wouldn't they?
Gimmick to the corner. Just over a minute left. Greasy clears long. This time they actually have options downfield. Now they can try and set something up. And it's going to be Greasy taking the early shot. Squishy can deal with it, but he hasn't dealt with it too well. Magnus drops back down. Greasy follows. Off the crossbar. Flakes is going to try for it, but he's the final player. And now complexity can't seem to set the rotation back up. It's going to be Greasy all by himself, and he's going to be thankful to see Gimmick fly past that.
Suddenly we've got everybody driving around at supersonic speed for the, looks like it will be the final minute here. Just over 30 seconds. Complexity have almost broken the crossbar, but Cloud9 still in the lead. They're still threatening long shots themselves.
There's a thunderous shot from Greasy. Had everything but the accuracy to go in.
Unfortunately, Greasy is quite famous for hitting the bar, but Flake's double touch, he can't quite connect with it. Greasy's there, but so is Squishy on the goal line.
Magnus is going to have to turn around. 10 seconds remaining. Gimmick plays it long once again. It's going to bounce off the side. It's a decent clear into the middle. Greasy now takes it over. He's challenged well. Magnus trying to keep it alive, but he is now taken out of the field. And now it's just going to be Torment and C9. They're just trying to hit the ball on the floor now. Greasy keeping it up. Can they try and go the other lane for the field? It's going to be up high. Off the backboard. Is there anyone there? No. Squishy keeps it going.
Still up in the air for Magnus, so he's taking control. 50-50 goes low. Torment will put it down into the ground. Cloud9 complete the sweep. They are going to go on to day 3 with the lower seeding, but at this point, I think they'll take it. compLexity fought bravely in the 3rd game, but there's just too much inconsistency in the 2 that were before it.
Yeah, compLexity, I think they'll come out of this tournament. They'll be a little bit disappointed, but they'll know exactly what they need to improve upon, and that is the advantage you get of coming to tournaments at this level. You get to play the best, and you only get to know the best knowledge that you need moving forward. For Cloud9, though, I think they were happy to be able to get the opportunity to play their game after that series against Savage earlier on.
Yeah, they didn't get to play their game at all versus Savage. Now they did, and they look solid enough. I mean, it's far from the best that we've seen from Cloud9, but that's just because they've shown us such amazing performances in the past. I think that they're going to be okay in day 3, at least. With DreamHack, anything can happen. So if you make it to day 3, I think that is mission accomplished for now. Doesn't really matter that they're in the loser bracket, because tomorrow everything will reset. It's just the quarterfinals. Single bracket.
They'll be looking at this entitlement and just going, we're one more away from a top 4 yet again. We're going to hear now from our lads. Dreadnought, over to you.
Thank you very much, guys. And a pretty interesting series, I would say, at least from my standpoint, you know, knowing what both of these players and both these teams are capable of and what we got here from them today. Is that fair?
Like, compLexity has to be disappointed. They have to be completely, because game 2 and game 3 was just, they should have won. Probably both of those games. Like, Greasy had 2 quality chances at the end.
Yeah.
And game 2, they definitely should have had.
Yeah, you definitely got to see at least, all right, compLexity, tough opponent in Cloud9, obviously, but you did get to see it's like, all right, I understand why they were able to make such a solid run through the qualifiers. They had some solid challenges, but what I liked most about Cloud9 the entire series is in that game 2 and 3, like, eventually compLexity had to give a little bit of ground, and what they were so good about changing pace of play, they said, all right, we got space, and they would just take it on a dribble, force a challenge, and then either they'd win it or it would just waste a ton of time. And that's what I think they were alluding to on the desk a little bit. It's tough to get a lead back from Cloud9. Yeah. They don't give you too much afterwards.
Because their defense, it's what it's all about nowadays for Cloud9. They don't get the 1 seed, but they get the 7 seed going into the bracket.
And here we got to go ahead and welcome not only the victor there, but also Squishy Muffins, a big name within the Rocket League scene. And I got to go ahead and ask, man, you know, it feels like this tournament, it's a little bit hard for your roster to be able to gain steam. Just wondering if you could give some backsight maybe into that one.
I mean, everyone's insane here. Like, every single team is insanely tough competition. And today, we all, like, didn't feel very good. I mean, I think you could tell, like, we weren't really playing like ourselves. Me, personally, I didn't feel good at all. Hopefully tomorrow comes back, you know, a new day, and hopefully we can play better.
Yeah, hopefully so.
Is there any teams from pool number 2 that you would like to see or like to play? Like, we'll see Energy and G2 battling it out. I'm not sure if you're playing them, or a team like Vitality. Like, is there any teams out of the group that you would like to face?
Always Energy. I always like playing Energy. It's always good practice. It's always super close games. So
yeah,
I mean, we're probably gonna end up playing them, I think.
Oh.
So then, of course, gotta ask, like, you had to play Savage earlier. It was a tough battle all the way through. I mean, they did well defensively, and because we were talking a little bit about Savage, and we were like, yo, they were tearing through everybody, and just what did you guys see in that match?
Like I said, we weren't playing very good, and they were also playing insane. So it was like the worst mixture, right? We were underperforming, they're like overperforming. Like, well, they're insane. That was the first time we ever played them. So,
yeah.
You know, it's always weird adjusting to a new team like that. But they're insanely fast. Like, we knew that going in. Devo, probably one of the fastest players in the world still, like, even since season 3, right, when he was the best. And Bluey, same thing. The whole team's just insanely fast, so it was hard to get used to.
So out of those 3 teams that are there now, we have Savage, we have Dig, and Flipside. Is Savage the best team right now? For day 3?
I haven't seen enough of them to say that, to be honest.
That's fair.
I think the other teams have kind of proven themselves. Like, you can have those one-off series where you're just insane.
Yeah.
But then when you show it, like, over multiple tournaments and you know, it's different. But I think they're going to be like a really, really good team in the future for sure. Like they're already insane, but they're going to continue to grow, I think.
Consistency matters here, and understandably so, from a team that pretty much never places below top 4. An absolute, you know, consistent roster throughout the entirety of the RLCS. We are going to go to a commercial break, but first we got to go ahead and say thank you to our sponsors, DreamHack, Monster, esportsmanagement.com, and of course, Psyonix here. Thank you very much. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, more Rocket League action.